let's hook up, you know.
Yeah.
And then we hooked up. And then we never unhooked up. So
Welcome to the hot seat with Penzola. Today we're gonna be doing things a little bit different. So let's take it very to the very beginning, right? How's the environment that you grew up in? Because I hear you grew up in Zola.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Penzola was born as Zola, born and bred as Zola. And yeah, I think when and I did my primary schooling there as Zola.
Okay.
And then you know, I think when I was about 9 or 10, my grandmother then, you know, got a house in Naledi Ext2, and that's where we moved to, and I finished off, you know, the rest of my years growing up. I mean, we all know, right? It's not a secret that, you know, the township during the years where, you know, during the 80s, it was quite a rough environment to grow up in. So
Yes.
so as a girl, a young girl, not, you know, back then, girls depended on their brothers to protect them, and you know, so it was a very violent and not so great environment. And I didn't have a brother. I grew up the only child at home.
Okay.
And I really felt, you know, I envied all the other girls that had brothers, because, you know, we had someone to protect, and my dad wasn't around either.
Okay.
So it was just me and my mom.
Okay.
So you can imagine the violence, you know. If I remember correctly, you know, every third girl got raped, you know, at that time, and it was normal, you know. There were riots, you know, there were many things, but, you know, outside of that, I must say that my growing up was really a good one, and I think I didn't turn out so bad, you know. I used to chill with the boys, you know, sidlala snooker, and just be one of them, you know, sibhema, siphuza. And that's how I think I survived. Because, you know, I was one of them, and, you know, I don't think any of them saw me as a potential chick.
Okay. And so I just want to take it back. Then did you feel the emptiness of growing up without a father? Because I mean, you're seeing other girls and other, you know, kids that you grew up with, their fathers coming back from home, necros and all of those things. Did you feel the space then, Uti?
Not really. You know, I don't think at the time when it happens you feel the void. It probably manifests itself as an adult some way, one way or another.
Yes.
As I was growing up, I was the only child. My mother used to work for a factory, and she earned obviously little, but I don't remember not having anything that I wanted.
Okay.
And I guess it was that thing of trying to stick to, you know, there's this notion that says if you grow up the only child, you're spoiled.
Yeah.
So I think she did exactly that. She just really was trying to give me everything so that I don't find myself wanting.
Yes.
So the void, no, not necessarily. Not at all. Ubaba now has passed away. He passed away in 2019. I later had a relationship with him.
Okay. Was your mother strict?
Oh, very. Yo. Hey! Yo, that chick. I just think that my mom wanted to protect me so much. Like, how on earth? So first of all, one of the key things is that like, well, how is that? What do you mean?
And you're not allowed to do.
Yeah, so I used to play Stratini, but now there was an agreement amongst my friends. So in a extension, we were not far from the train station.
Okay.
So you could see her from far. So all my friends knew with Mama.
Yeah.
I knew.
Yeah.
Wipe and pretend like I've been sitting at home the whole day. That's just how my mother was, and I don't think she was practical. You know, all my other cousins used to go, so I don't know. She just had her own way of
doing things.
So even today, I mean, I've got kids, and my kids visited. You must sit at home in the house. So
Yes.
I just didn't think that works. I've always wanted to be on radio.
Okay.
Because I thought I had a great voice.
Okay.
Although when I was growing up, I was teased for the voice.
Yeah.
And that I think that affected my confidence.
The confidence
because
as well.
everyone's like, "Yo, you sound like a guy."
Yeah.
And I think for me, when they say that, it meant that I wasn't pretty.
Oh.
You know, but it was just the voice.
Okay,
So, but as I grew older, I realized, you know, man, this voice can work for me. And I was really interested in being on radio. So the one time through friendships and through the places through one or two places I was at, I got an opportunity to co-host with someone at a big radio station at that time. I know it wasn't about to happen.
Yeah.
It was not about to happen.
She wasn't having it.
No, she wasn't having it. And yeah, well, look, I don't know how it would have turned out.
Yeah.
And maybe it was a good thing.
Maybe it was a good thing or not a good thing.
Not a good thing. We wouldn't know. But yeah, that's how clear she was about. And this industry, it's full of drugs and all of that stuff. Yeah.
So uben wenzani at that time akabuya esikoleni?
High school, I did it at Waverly Girls High School.
Okay.
And so esikolweni ingamla, Nandi.
Yeah.
You get exposed to a different life. And then after school, ngene pasini, ngene taxini, buyele ekhaya, you know, and stayed with my grandmother, my mother, her sister, and and her sister's kids. So it was quite a full house at the time. And obviously, homework was a big thing. So I got home, did my homework, but I struggled to connect to the wider,
spectrum.
Yeah. Because so now you're exposed to this other life.
Yeah.
And I'm only grandly life, yes. And then you come back here, you think, you're fine, this is home, but you definitely don't want this life.
Yes, exactly.
So I think my high school was, there was a lot of conflict inside of me. Because I had these friends and then, and then and then I started feeling like this is really where I want to be. And the whole thing of Kumislu, man, it was fashionable. It's like, it's like, what are you saying? Yeah, no, and then I'm making no
there must be a difference.
Yeah, and now people started thinking how, where now, but it was quite an experience. I really enjoyed both the views of
the
being
both
in the
two worlds.
Yeah, the two worlds. Being in
together.
The township and also just being in that school environment.
Okay. Were you active in any sports?
I was in athletics, hectically in athletics.
Okay.
So I used to do sprints during summer, and then in winter I used to do long distance, and I think we used to call it cross country there.
Okay.
So running was a thing for me.
You Penny from Penzola, right? And then from Naledi, and now you're going to a multiracial school, right? Do you then have to feel the need to lie about the background you're from because who have fathers are dropping off the name water and all of that? Did you feel any need to lie about where you're from?
So I started the multiracial school in '94.
Okay.
So you can imagine at the time, a lot of us from the black community were starting there.
Oh.
So the friends I had were black. I mean, I knew white friends, and I used to visit them at their houses, but the conversation was never deep to a point of explaining where you're from. So the smaller circle was a safe space for me.
Okay.
So I didn't have to lie, although they were actually quite better. There were four of us.
Yes.
And three of them had both parents. I didn't. And they were living in the suburbs, but they had lived in the township, so they understood me for who I was.
Okay.
And I also was not trying to shift and pretend to be something. So I've always just felt comfortable to be who I am. And if I'm uncomfortable around you, then I don't become friends with you. Okay. That's really that's really been my policy.
And that saves you.
Yeah. So I didn't have to lie about Mauritius or where I come from, and so for me it was a safe space. I grew with those friends, and there were times where it was tough. I remember my mother was in hospital for a long time.
Okay.
I think for about 2 years she was in hospital, and the same friends understood that they had to carry me during that time.
Okay.
And they paid for they asked their parents to pay for my the taxi in a bus.
Or for you to go to school and stuff.
Yeah, because my grandmother couldn't afford it.
Nice.
And then they also used to bring lunch for me.
Oh, okay.
So the three of them would bring 4 slices of bread each. Okay. And then I would get one slice. So you could actually eat. And we'd all have 3 slices, but mine were colorful.
Nice.
So that's how safe I was.
Nice.
In that friendship. So, but yeah.
Are you still friends with them till today?
Of course, yes, absolutely. So I'm still friends with them. They'll always have a special place in my heart.
Definitely.
One of them actually passed away 2 years ago.
My condolences.
So the other 2 that's left, I think that's really the thing that keeps us together. And one of the things they consistently said was they love how I was just an open book.
Okay,
You know,
okay,
the poverty and all was a thing I was quite comfortable.
And I like for the fact that
express.
you didn't, dwell on this thing, Guti.
No.
I'm from this, and then this should limit me from receiving this.
No.
And all of that.
The plan was to get out of there.
Yeah,
The plan was to get out of there.
And then that didn't affect you academically.
Look, I wasn't clever, I must be honest. I think in primary and higher primary,
With the
was
career that
clever.
you're doing today, I find that hard to believe. But okay.
No, let me tell you, right? So I think primary and high primary, I was clever. You know, I don't know if you remember back in the day, they used to do like number one out of the whole standard.
Yes.
And I think when I got to the multiracial school, hey, you know, firstly the English, and you learn it at that age. I was 13. And you know, my mother's in hospital for 2 years.
Yes.
So it was tough. I think academically, I just made it out of matric. I really just made it. And I remember I failed my junior exams and I failed prelims.
Okay.
Then I think the same friends were like, as in you uzo fail if we don't do anything about this.
Okay.
So one of the friends said no. They'll ask their mother to speak to my mother. Then then I went to stay with them to study.
Oh, nice.
And I think the failing of my prelims in June, it didn't really have a lot to do with where I came from. I think it had a lot to do. I used to bunk school quite a bit. I must be honest. I used to bunk school quite a bit. You know, the need. You know, the whole thing of wanting to be on radio. I started now. Hang around at places where there's all these musicians, you know, because I'm trying to get in the industry. Now, those guys don't go to school, you know, so there's always parties during the week, so I would bunk school. And in fact, one of my other friends said to me, if you don't stop bunking school, I will actually tell your mother. Right?
Yeah.
I was like, you know, but I thank God for her, because she made me realize, she's like, no, this is it.
Okay.
I'm going to tell your parents. And that's the same friend that said, listen, come and study with me. And I studied with her, and I passed my matric, you know.
Nice.
So I think it was an interesting high school.
Okay. What are some of the things that you learned then that you wish you knew earlier?
I don't know. I think everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So you learn what you learn at the time when you learn it. I don't know, bruh. I can't think of anything that I wish I knew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just think everything happens for a reason.
Okay. Who are you looking up to at that time? Who are some of the people that you would say? Who are you looking up to at that time?
Yeah. So growing up was, people like Abo Vinolia Mashiko was a thing, right?
Okay.
I've always wanted to present, or radio. It's something, and I think that's as a result of the fact that I've always wanted to create a platform where conversations could happen.
Yes.
So at the time, the one talk show, that was it. The Felicia Mabuza's Subtle Show was the thing for me.
Okay.
I used to, although I wasn't looking forward to the Sunday itself because I'm going to school the next day, but I was looking forward to the show, And I like how she did it. There were people on studio, so she had a panel. Then she had, like, if they're discussing something about the police or whatever, there's a few policemen there. She goes to them, there's questions.
Okay.
I liked the robust conversations that she created and that she had on her platform. So she was one of the people I looked up to, and I wanted to be as sophisticated as her, but I just didn't think I'd get there.
Okay.
And then Uvinolia, I resonated with her. She was relatable. She's loud. She's out there.
She's free and all of
she's
it.
free, and she just spoke her mind.
Yes.
And for me, that was like, wow, this chick is bold. And that boldness for me is really what I connected with. I like being bold and upfront and confrontational. And
just being yourself, exactly.
And just being myself. And confrontation really doesn't mean fight.
Yeah.
There's healthy confrontations, guys.
Exactly, definitely.
Just confront and move on. No, don't catch feelings.
Exactly.
It's really just about that.
Okay. And did you get a chance to meet one other?
So I didn't at all.
Okay.
But those are people I think at the time when I was growing up, I really looked up to.
Okay. I see, because through our conversation, you keep mentioning you wanted to be a presenter, radio, and all of that, right? Why not go into a media school at that time? Why go and study something else and not go straight into media at that time?
Look, there was no money to go to varsity.
Okay.
That's for sure. After matric, you find a job.
Okay.
You decide what you do after finding a job. So I actually did want to go to LMP campus at the time because there was a hype about it, and I wanted to do sound engineering.
Okay.
there was no money. I think my grandmother gave me $900 to go pay the deposit, and we were trying to apply for a student loan. Yeah, in fact, the one thing I wish I knew then, and answering your question, is NAFSAS. I wish I knew that there was, and I didn't know. You know, that I could actually study for free. But yeah, so then I never got to study, and I got a job in a call center. And you know, working in that call center, then I went into recruitment. And you know, we all think recruitment is HR. So I fell in love, and I thought, you know, I love people, and I love, you know,
this is for me.
Yeah, then I went and studied HR, which I paid for myself.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, and I think to pursue the career of being a presenter or being a radio, it just was not it was not practical. You had to go work. And and you need to pay the bills. The bills are now. So I think the opportunity is now. Now I sit in a position that I can do stuff that I want to do. So take me. So after matric, right? You went straight to work. No, I struggled a bit.
You struggled a bit. What did you do after matric?
You sit and you wait for a job somewhere. Or, you know, my grandmother used to ask her friends, you struggled a bit to find a job, and then you know, the one day a friend said, no, call this number, they're looking for call center agents, and you know, I called them.
Obviously with your voice.
You know, I was like, I went, you know, at least a little bit of English from Waverly Girls at work. Then I got that call center position, and I think that was the start for me, you know, because the ambition was there, the ambition was clear. But you know, make what you get now work for you. And and that's when it all started, and it's all the way up from there.
Because I know this media thing, it's like a calling, right? So as you're in the call center, don't you get banned, man? There's this desire, there's this thing that I need to pursue that's in me, which is what you're doing now.
No, not really. Look, it was a pipe dream in my head at the time. Like, I want to be on radio. It's not gonna. It was a pipe dream. So in the call center, I was doing what needed to be done. Get paid. The next thing is to be a team leader, because then you get paid more. Next thing is to be an ops manager. You get paid. And so on. It was really about making what is there work for you to move to the next step. That's it.
What did you do?
The dreams of being a presenter, those dreams were buried at the time.
What did you do with your first salary? I still remember.
I don't know. Probably gave it to my mom. You know how it is. You know.
Plus, you're the only child at home, so I'm sure you just had to.
You've got to go home, man. You know, and say, "Holy, No, I don't remember exactly, but I bet you I spent half of it on my mother.
And how long did you last in the call center industry?
I lasted quite a bit. Because I took calls for about 8 months, then promoted to team leader. Then I got an opportunity to train and facilitate. So I think maybe that was it gave me the platform to speak, because I probably like the sound of my own voice. But so I enjoyed the training piece, and then I moved to another organization. It was also call center. Up until I moved into the financial, you know, industry, in the banking space, so where I held many roles there.
But obviously you had to study in between, right? Or
I was studying while working. While being pregnant, while getting married, while having kids. The studies took much longer. The degree usually takes 3 years. Mine took 10 years. I'm being serious. Literally 10 years.
What did you mean?
But I've got it today. So that got it for 3 years, and I got it for 10.
Hence we're here today to show that it's possible.
Absolutely. So, and I encourage anyone, guys, don't give up. That degree you will finish it.
I mean, we're here today. I trust you. I trust you. And then call center, right? And you actually working and you're studying at at what stage did you meet Babaseka?
So I met him at the call center.
Oh, okay.
No, we met at the call center. This was in 2004.
There was no dating clause at the company at that time.
I'm sure there was, but you know, we went against the clause. So I met him in 2004, and it wasn't. We were not. You know, we didn't say siyajola or nyathanda. It was just like, you know, let's hook up. You know.
Yeah.
And then we hooked up. And then we never unhooked up. So yeah, no, it wasn't a formal.
Yeah.
Ngiyakuthanda, nami ngiyakuthanda. So sesajola. No. It was a hookup, and you know, adults would know what I mean by hookup. But
Yeah.
and then yeah, we just became. I think more than anything, we were friends, and then the relationship just progressed, and we then lived together.
Yeah,
And then after living together, we're like, I know, you know, let's solidify this thing. So I think yeah, I've known him for about 20 years now. So it's
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot of years.
no,
That's
it
a lot
is,
of
and
years.
we've got a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. Yeah, no, kumnandi, man.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
great.
beautiful. Siyazara.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this conversation, you spoke about that for safety and all of that. You hang around boys and you don't want to be shell out and all of that. At what stage, or at the point of your life, did you then let that go and allowed yourself to be shell out? And all of that?
Yeah. Well, you don't allow yourself to be shellared. Guys just shell out anyway. You know?
Regardless, ne?
Regardless, right?
Yeah.
So, I think I struggled to come out of it. You know, and then I also just struggled because the people that you want to look at you are not looking at you. So you start thinking there's something wrong with you, right? But I mean, I don't know. You know, I think as the society evolved, you know, we moved away from the violence and whatnot. You know, so there was no more a need for me to be afraid.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
so we evolved. Now we're going to multiracial school. We're meeting guys from Boma St. John's, Boma St. Watwati, and then you start thinking, hey, guy from township, guy, you know, then you start kind of crafting this ideal guy of yours,
Yes.
which never works because
Yes.
it's a checklist. You know, you write this is what you want, and forgetting who you are in the process, because you can have this nice ideal but you've got to plug into that, right? So. Yeah, so I think as I grew older, outside of high school, I started working. I started feeling very comfortable to date.
Yes.
And for me, it was never really dating. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
I think only when I met my husband and I started understanding what caring for someone looks like.
Really means,
But really caring, right? So not caring
as a friendship
by giving, but really caring in even having the conversations that the person doesn't want to have.
Yes.
And for me, that's the real. Because sometimes umuntu unokuthanda noma ngathi akuthengele ama-drugs akuthengele because uyakuthanda. Yabo?
Okay.
But real life is not about that. It's about you know, let's have
being
the conversation.
considerate and
yes,
all
let's
of
have the
that,
conversations. I'll tell you what you don't want to hear.
Yes.
You know, I know some women, when we have conversations, they're like, yo, you know, the husband said or the boyfriend said, "Unne cellulite or ustudla," and some of those comments, you know, they're quite sensitive and they're hurting. And I'm not finding myself in that space. Most dudes or one of them.
Yes.
It's not like I can.
But they're just saying.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. A lot more transparent conversations. Really make you feel secure.
Yes, and allowing yourself as well to be loved by somebody.
Then
and
you don't have to
open
build
up.
a wall.
Yes.
You know, so yeah.
You can get home and just remove that wig.
Yeah. So that's really the space I'm in. Yeah.
Okay. And then the first child, while you still in the...
we were married.
You were married?
Yeah, no, I did it.
So you did things by the book?
I did it the right way. No, I did it the right way. I waited, we were married, we had the first and then the second.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you did it by the book?
I did it by the book. Not the kids, not the deed, but you know what I mean?
No 90-day rule.
Yeah, no. But the kids came at the right time. We were ready. I was 30 when I had my first child.
Okay.
And I was 33 when I had my second. And even when being a motherhood becomes overwhelming, it always puts you at ease when you know you wanted the kids, you were ready mentally and physically and otherwise.
Yes.
Versus, you know, having an oopsie and being pregnant when you're not ready. I can only imagine what those guys go through. But no, I was ready.
Okay. Yeah. And then what kept you going at that time? I mean, you had school, you had the husband, you know, you had a career because you were studying as well and all of that. What actually kept you going at that time?
Well, going must go, right?
Yes.
So you gotta go to work, you gotta have the kids, you gotta, you know, but I think there's a misconception that, you know, when you do all of these things, you are perfect in all of them. Not at all.
Okay.
So you do what's best, what's urgent for that day. You know, if being a mother takes priority for that day, then be that. If being a student and, you know, your kids go to your mother and you are able to study. So it's really just about balancing, and the balancing is probably not the right word, because it's never balanced.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it is what it is, you
Okay.
know. You sometimes forget that your child has a cake and candy sale and you didn't buy the candy.
Yes, yes.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be a perfect mother, perfect wife. It's do what needs
Just
to
be
be done.
there and
Just
yes,
be
yeah.
there for that day.
Yes.
And that's that.
Okay. So judging from our conversation, right, we could really tell Uguti, Penzola is this type of person that, you know, you've always made your own decision, always been bold, you've always been, you know, your own man, if there's such a thing. Are you that person?
Yeah, look, yeah. I like to control stuff. I want things my way or the highway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then now that you obviously have kids, you're a family woman, now you're married, you have a career and all of that. Do you feel like that has changed that in any way?
Yeah, I have to be honest with you, it has. I'm still that person inside, you know. I can't take away the urge and the need to be in control of everything, be everywhere at all times. But I think having a family and, you know, husband and kids, it has limited, it's sort of clipped my wings, you know. And in the beginning, it really feels like you're in the wrong space. It really feels like, do I really want this, you know? And you constantly have to remind yourself. I just think that having a family, and it starts first with the marriage, right? You are now responsible for someone else, right? So I'll take you through it. So my husband and I didn't get married after Zola ring. You know, we first lived together.
Okay.
And so we lived together 4 years before we got married.
4 years.
Yeah. And that 4 years was probably not the greatest, especially the first 2 years, because now, flames, you know.
Okay.
You're living with this person, is here, they leave their socks there. He's also getting to understand who I am.
Yeah.
Now when I want to go out for drinks with girls after work,
You have someone to report
not that
to.
I'm asking for permission, I don't think that's what he was asking for, you know.
Yeah.
Notify. Just the ability to notify the person.
So I know where you are.
Yeah, so he knows where I am, you know.
Okay.
I really struggled with those things because it literally felt like I was trapped. It felt like this guy was like, why must I tell you? And that comes from the fact that as females and as women, you know, there's always that feeling of oppression. So then you can't separate when someone actually is asking to you to tell him where you are because he cares or because he just wants to be controlling.
Yeah.
Right. So I think from psychologically, it really had, the first 4 years were the toughest for me because, and we were not married, by the way, so there was a choice to walk away.
To actually say,
right, there was a choice to walk away,
we're not committed yet.
But none of us walked away, and that's when I realized to say, not walking away, but still feeling this turmoil and the inter-conflict within myself to say, I don't know if I want this thing, you know. But I didn't walk away. So, and then obviously after that we had the kids. So I still think that I'm very bold, you know, that I'm still controlling. There are certain things that I control. I probably need to control differently now. I can't just wake up and make a decision. I first need to, you know, I almost need to pitch to my husband an idea and sell it to him. and then get him to say, but baby, this is the right thing. And then, so and he's quite a lawyer. And by a lawyer, that's not his profession. But he's quite an adult. He is a risk person. He punches holes in every statement. Sometimes to a bit of an extreme, I must say. But he helps shape the idea. And that also helps me think really carefully about the ideas. So while it feels like a trap, but it's also growth, right?
Yes.
Because before I used to make these decisions, and I must say the decisions I made were not that bad. You know, they got me this far.
Yeah.
But having a partner that really listens and interrogates, whilst it feels like, oh my God, it's a hurdle. I need to get through this before I get what I want. By the time you get to the other side, it's more refined. You now know, you know.
Okay.
So yes, it has taken away some control.
Okay. Okay.
But not the want to control, not the need to control.
Okay.
It's just hoops. I think it's, for me, it's just like
Yeah.
obstacles that I need to go through.
Okay.
And even starting the show, right? I must be honest, I must tell you.
Yeah.
So I think, so in my thinking of the story of the show, I didn't first talk to him about it, and it was just by the by, you know. By the way, I'm recording this Saturday.
What are you recording? When's
No, I had this idea, YouTube, what, you know. And I guess he let it go. Like, you know, he's like, okay, let's see how this is going to go, right?
Okay.
And in there, because of my own ways of doing things, of controlling and not communicating properly, I felt somehow, in some way in my little corner, that he wasn't supportive. You know? But how does one become supportive when you actually didn't tell him?
Because they're in the dark,
right?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, where did this idea come from now over YouTube? And I think after that, when he really saw that that is something I wanted to do, and actually the first recording happened, and can I tell you, there actually was support. I just didn't feel it. But there
once he knew what you were,
the organization of the tech and the equipment and all of that, you know, he was there. But that's what I'm saying. That's what control does to you. You become, you know, so consumed with the control that you actually don't communicate properly. You don't ask for the help that you need. You need to ask for, which then may impact the relationship. And I thank God that he is who he is, and he understands that his wife is really bad at communication. I still am, even today. And maybe I could always easily blame it on the fact that I grew up as the only child, you know, so I was never dependent on anyone, so I could do things all by myself.
And now you're
so I'm struggling to, 14 years later, even today, I still struggle with asking my husband for money. Like,
so
you know, so yeah, it does. There's a definite impact there, but it's something I need to deal with.
Okay. So how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, look, people can get a hold of me on Hot Seat with Penzola on all our social media platforms. You know, YouTube channels called Hot Seat with Penzola. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, please. Yeah, let's engage.
Yeah. Hot Seat with Penzola everywhere.
Yeah.